Люблю тебя, как любит жизнь не раз.
Cha-cha-cha. Yes, so Hairless here. Today we're back with DIMASH, and this is the recent DIMASH poll winner. It is Love is Like a Dream. Thanks to everyone who voted on that poll. We got a lot of submissions. Let me know if you thought the poll was a good idea and if you'd like to do more polls for future DIMASH reactions. This is a performance from 2019 in Moscow. This seems to be the most favoured version from all of the comments I received that were recommending this song. I listened to a performance from about 30 years ago, 1994, so in this we'll call that the original if I make comparisons. And that was sung by Alla Pugacheva, and she had a younger Igor Krutoy accompanying. That was from a concert called A Creative Evening of composer Igor Krutoy. At least that's what the YouTube video is titled. So yeah, I listened to that a number of times. It's a really nice song and a great performance as well. There we see a young Igor. There are definitely some musical techniques in there that I think Igor does love using. I'm sure I'll mention them later unless the version here with DIMASH is completely different and they don't appear throughout. I'll put the lyrics on screen now. Feel free to pause and have a read. Yeah, they're nice lyrics. I like them. So without further ado, let's get straight into it.
DIMASH QUDAIBERGEN.
Я в глаза твои, как в зеркало смотрюсь. Отражение потерять свое боюсь. Не хочу, чтоб я лишь гостем был в сумраке ночей и в судьбе твоей. Я люблю тебя, как любит жизнь не раз. Словно солнце в мире не было до нас. От забот и мелких ссор я тебя увел, и ключи от счастья для тебя нашел, для тебя нашел.
Okay, there are definitely, well, some significant differences to the version with Allah. This is the end of the first verse, so we'll do our first pause here. As usual, if you don't want to hear my analysis, go to the timestamp. Yeah, I mean, the stylistic differences, they're obvious. Let's just have a clip from the original song compared to this, just how they start. And then in the original we get some strings coming in. They're very rhythmic, they provide syncopation. And then we get this run up in the strings as well. That leads into this bass line. So we get the run up and then the bass line. Really nice bass line that isn't in DIMASH's version. In terms of key, I would have said that this is a semitone down from the original, but I do think they're actually in the same key. They're like a quarter tone apart. I'll show a clip later on because there's one bit that's good to use as an example to demonstrate this. And the tuning discrepancy I'll attribute to the original song, the one from 94, just being an older clip, so maybe something's going on with the sound quality. There are many stylistic differences for the vocal opening too. Here we have just bare piano chords with some passing notes in between.
Я в глаза твои, как в зеркало смотрюсь. Отражение потерять
Dimash's entry with this low croaky voice, as I call it, then a bit more airy, and then he eases into the melody with a bit more of a delicate but soft and airy voice, but definitely more melodic. The end of this line, just afterwards, for example, he's not actually singing any audible notes. But we know what the notes are because of the musical context. The harmonic implications, we finish off the melody in our heads, when in fact there, for a couple of notes, he's just producing air. There's no note to it. If we compare this to the original, that one has a much more direct sound. A clear melody, we get powerful instrumentation in the background, we get percussion, I think some guitar comes in as well. We get this bari bass Dimash that we don't hear too much of, so like the baritone bass version.
Я люблю тебя, как любит жизнь не раз.
I'm inclined to think that later on he's going to go higher. It's Igor's song and arrangement. He came out of retirement to work with Dimash, so I think this will happen, but I am also doubting myself. Maybe if they keep things low, then it's different. It's a bit of a surprise in a weird way, because it's Dimash. And, you know, this was the poll winner. I've received this one as a request many, many times, so there must be a reason for it. So I'm a bit 50-50, but because it's Igor and Dimash, I think that he probably would have written something a bit crazy that Dimash is capable of singing. Interestingly, we see the strings enter, the violins and the cellos.
Я люблю тебя, как любит.
But we can't hear them, and I'm not sure why. How this final video that I'm listening to now on YouTube differs from the sound of the live performance here. I guess the live audience would have been able to hear them. Yeah, I can't hear them. It's a shame because having strings there really can add so much to the music, depending how you use them. But we've seen them before in Igor's music, especially in some of the Lara Fabian performances as well. She's worked with Igor, but I'm talking about some of the ones that I've seen from her concert from Laura with Love. Do check out my Laura playlist if you haven't already. Cards that will be up here. So yeah, I just thought this was quite interesting. As for the melody, I really like this line here.
И ключи от счастья для тебя.
Before I get into it, this is the example I was talking about earlier that I can use to demonstrate how this and the original are just a tiny bit apart in terms of tuning and why I think they're actually in the same key.
И ключи от счастья.
So this melody, why I like it? Well, the arc, it rises and then descends. On that rise up, you have the melody that Dimash is singing and the bass part in the piano, and they are in tenths, so they're 10 notes apart. And if we move the bass part up, so they're a third apart, which is very simple but nice harmony. So they move up together. Also, Dimash's melody dips in and out of the bass part. Melody to bass. Melody to bass. Melody to bass. So there's a mixture of unison and harmony. After this nice rise up, we then get this fall downwards. So overall, we go from... And this interval immediately strikes me. It's called an augmented fourth, otherwise known as a tritone. Tritone because it's made up of 3 whole tones. 1 tone, 2 tone, 3 tone. It's one of the most dissonant intervals there is. It's unnatural sounding, so much so that it was called the Diabolus in Musica, the devil in music. Here though, those 2 notes aren't sounding at the same time. Instead, they're used to build the melodic infrastructure. I think it sounds really nice. In the original, again we hear strings in the background, the urgency of them. They're playing staccato, short rhythms. Cha, 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 cha. Here, it's a completely different feel. Again, we can't hear the strings, but we can see that they're playing sustained legato smooth notes. And the lyrics, found the keys of happiness. The musical key is in G minor. But we get a resolution to G major through a 4-3 suspension in the piano. Keys to happiness, major being happy instead of minor sad. Alright, some cool things so far. Let's carry on.
Любовь похожая на сон. сердец хрустальных перезвон. Твое волшебное люблю. Я тихим эхом повторю, любовь, похожая на сон. Счастливым сделала мой дом, но вопреки законам сна пускай не кончится она.
Oh, his face here. This is the end of the second verse, so we'll do another pause, just a few things to go over there. We have a fuller sound now, and the strings come in audibly. Elongated sung notes, and the piano part. It's a bit more fluid now with these arpeggiated figures. Just after that, it seems like we're going to be reverting back to the quieter, more airy sound. Well, how do we counter this if we're meant to be progressing through the music? You move up in pitch.
Любовь, похожая на сон, счастливым сделала.
Dimash also adding in some embellishments, some little trills, extra notes here and there. Right, then we get this bit, which is very interesting. We have the sustained string notes playing in the background. These will naturally cause subtle dissonances as you have the sustained note and the other parts around it are moving. Dimash had this sustained note, which is part of this chord around it. But the piano goes, which is really exaggerated. Obvious dissonance, even more so because the music is progressing through the circle of fifths, a very recognisable harmonic pattern. Now, I don't know why this is here, why Igor has chosen to do this at this particular moment. What we'd expect to hear instead of... Is it unintentional or improvisatory? Only Igor will know. Let's assume it is intentional though. So what are the lyrics at this point? I'm not sure how accurate these are. Let's go to the lyrics page. Here we are. Okay, so, but against the laws of a dream, let it never end. We can come to our own conclusions as to why there is this obvious and harsh dissonance here. Perhaps it's to do with the agonizing reality that just as all dreams end, perhaps this situational love is also destined to end. And just before we paused, we then got this lovely ethereal piano. Unlike the end of the previous verse, which ended with a shift to the major, this stays in the minor. We have finished in the key of F minor though. One tone down from G minor, where we started. From the Igor works that I've seen, this is kind of expected in an unexpected way. He seems to love to slowly modulate to unexpected keys, but he does it very seamlessly, so you wouldn't really notice it unless you're looking out for it. And yeah, Dimash's face. I often receive comments saying Dimash does not convey emotion when he performs. We all have our different musical preferences and tastes. That's fine, that's normal, but I think his emotional understanding of and being at one with the music, well, yeah, I think it's obvious. All right, that's where we got to. So let's carry on.
Я прощаю одиночество и грусть. Ты сказала в них, я больше не вернусь. Так бывает только в сладком сне, но любовь у нас наяву сейчас. Мне в глазах твоих себя не потерять. До разлуки нам любовь не разменять. И немыслимой ценой, и своей мечтой заслужил я это счастье быть с тобой, быть всегда с тобой. Любовь, похожая на сон, сердец хрустальных перезвон, твое волшебное люблю.
Now we're getting those urgent strings I was speaking about from the original version.
Я тихим эхом повторю, любовь, похожая на сон, счастливым сделала мой дом, но вопреки законам сна, пускай не кончится.
Okay, if we are getting angelic high Dimash as we often see at the end, let's do it. Oh wow, it's been 2 minutes. It's actually, yep. Pause number 3. This is quite a long song. Yeah, it's nice to rewind a little bit. Here we get that nice melody again, falling down the tritone. But the violins are going. They have a suspension, and the note that they end on, which is the same note Dimash is singing, if we move them to the same octave, because the violins go, they have this clash with Dimash before then resolving on his note. Therefore, this note is exaggerated, naturally. What is this note? It's the major third of the chord that we hear. This note determines if we're major, happy, or minor, sad. If we were one note lower, then it would be the minor, sad version. But no, the note they're exaggerating. This does, I feel, give us the sense that something a bit different or odd might be happening harmonically. And then what happens?
Мне в глазах твоих себя не потерять.
Boom. Here we go. It's an interesting chord progression. The bass part is often very telling for things like this. We hear it rising, and then we'd expect the next note to be. But instead we get, what is this note if we move it up? Again, it's the major third in the chord that we hear, to create F major instead of F minor where we started the section. This F major chord, it's not what we'd typically expect. What's Dimash's role in all this with his melody? Well, he is singing the root note, the F. Just to increase conviction in this perhaps strange harmony. In this moment of conviction, let's look at the lyrics as well. Again, I'm not sure if I trust this. I do hope to avoid losing myself in your eyes. Let's go to the translation page. Here, I'd better find myself in your eyes. I'm not sure either. Let's see what Google Translate says. Oh, I can't lose myself in your eyes. Well, we get the gist. This is a moment of conviction in the music, I feel. Then we get another suspension leading to a major resolution to finish off the musical section. The lyrics being with you forever. Happy, positive. Then things change. Dimash sings a cappella and we're thinking, what's going to happen?
Любовь, похожая.
Anything could happen here, as we know, with Igor and Dimash. But what does happen? Okay, let's just listen to this section. I don't need to go through it bit by bit, but let's listen to how many different voice types Dimash uses and how many stylistic changes he makes, such as from the more operatic power vibrato sound to the airy straight tone, the lighter tone.
Сердец хрустальных перезвон, твое волшебное люблю. Я тихим эхом повторю.
And then the next bit, yes, everyone who's watched my Dimash videos knows that I love when he sings like this. I call it the airy Dimash. I typically include a clip from Ikanida. Yeah, it's just great. And again, see how much of an effect the violins make on the overall feel. Just before that, urgent, playing quickly, agitated almost. But now, kind of woozy, flowing. There's a reason Igor uses them in his arrangements. Speaking of the violins, there was one bit where they have this dissonance similar to the one that I pointed out earlier in the piano. But their purpose is clearer now. It's to modulate, so to arrive in a different key. What we hear, this is a leading tone, so it should go back to, so the whole thing. Which it does. In DIMASH. DIMASH seamlessly takes over from them. That's where we got to and where I paused. So let's carry on now, I think, until the end. This is the Ave Maria, Igor's Ave Maria that DIMASH sang, influenced by the Vavilov or Caccini one. I was about to say bravo. Yeah, that's a nice one. I do like it. I do like it. I can see why it was recommended so much. Just little things that Igor likes to do with the music, such as the hemiolas here. 3 beats in the space of 2. Cha 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 cha. So what I said, I paused because this last bit, it seemed to be Ave Maria. Very, very nice. Please do watch my reaction to DIMASH singing Igor's Ave Maria, because I explain how it's based on an older version of Ave Maria. Card will be up here. I'm going to include a segment of my reaction video to that, because it's the exact same application of the music here. The only thing that's different is the melody. There's been some melodic adjustment, but it's the exact same principle and explanation. So the harmonic progression is the same. The chords in that order are the same. I'm now going to point out some similarities that I've seen with the Caccini or Vavilov version of Ave Maria, and I'm going to sing on top of DIMASH. So if you don't want to see that, please go to the timestamp that I've put just here. So this section, the structure of the harmonic progression is the same as the Caccini Vavilov version, which means that you can take the melody from the other version and put it on top of this and it will fit perfectly. Now I'm going to try and demonstrate that by singing quietly on top of DIMASH. It's very high, so do forgive me. If you don't know the other version, the Caccini of Vavilov version, then I'll leave a link in the description so you can go check it out to see where that melody comes from. And then we get this bit, I mean... wow, beautiful chromatic inflections. Insanely high, the precision, the accuracy, kind of harmonic undertones of Eastern music there. The other surprising bit, the heartbeats, the tension. What's happening? Is this the end? No, of course not. DIMASH then uses this blended voice of his, higher up for more power. And again, especially on the last note. Sustaining it for a long period of time. I often say that he uses this voice for the more pained bits of music. Alright, well, I don't think I need to say any more on that one. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone who voted on the poll. Again, I can see why it won, but I'm sure all the other ones are great too, so I do look forward to getting round to them in the future. As always, thank you very much for watching. Would appreciate a like and subscribe. If you enjoy my content, want to support me, join the community, vote on future polls, you can do so by joining the Patreon linked on the screen, and I will see you next time.